All right, we are live on Facebook. Hey, everybody, how are you? We are here for another session answering your questions about consular services and, you know, the paperwork that you have to go, the process you have to go through and all that kind of stuff. So as our previous sessions, please pop your questions into the chat below and we will answer them live. And we do have a few questions that have come in over this past week that via email that we can answer initially. I'm trying to find one of them, but one was really regards to, again, we're getting a lot of questions about, okay, so my parents were born in Portugal, but they weren't married there. So how do we, like, what's the process, right? So the first process is they have to get their marriage registered in Portugal. Okay. And then from there, can they register their birth and send in the application for their citizenship all at the same time? Or do they have to register their birth first and then? Can you go over that?
Okay, so they have to register first. The marriage has to be registered to the parents, correct? Once that's done and they have that confirmation, then they can go and do the rest of the registration with their birth certificate and all the required documents. But the most important for anybody to remember is registering that marriage of your parents, because if that's not registered in the eyes of the government, you don't exist. Okay, that's the easiest way for people to remember that. And even, for example, today I had somebody call because this is their second marriage and their first marriage wasn't registered, but they want to give citizenship to that son of the first marriage, and the marriage wasn't registered, nor was the divorce. So they have to do that now too. So it's just to bear in mind that unless who, for example, you're attaining a citizenship or attempting to do that through your parents. If the Portuguese government doesn't know that they were married, and the only way they know that is registering it in Portugal, then the other, then it doesn't fall into place yet, because in the mind you don't exist. So I hope I answered the question, but I try to keep it in simple terms because that's how I understand it too, and it kind of helps us move along quicker.
Got it. And what are some of the questions you were getting today, or anything that you can share? And actually, one thing that I do want to, we'll post on the link here as well as on Zoom, but Palcus is launching a new a page on our website where we're taking all of these questions and logging them as like a frequently asked questions list, and the answers that we get are there. So if you go to palcus.org/consular resources, there's a whole bunch of questions that we've been getting on these sessions with the answers as well. So check that out. But sorry, go ahead, Carolina.
No, I think the most questions I'm getting, of course, is on travel. People that want to travel to Portugal and can't travel yet on U.S. passports. Others, of course, that, bear in mind too that, if you haven't renewed a passport in 20 or 30 years, it just doesn't renew that quickly. You have to, always have your ID card up to date. If that's not up to date, you're going to have at least a 30 to 45 day period waiting till you get that ID card back before you can do the passport. And then the passport, you can of course expedite it. You'll get it within 7 to 10 days, or you have to wait at least 4 to 5 weeks if it goes the regular route. Those are some of the questions we get. We're starting to see a lot more of elderly people that have not renewed their passports, but that their children want to acquire citizenship through them. And we're talking about children being in their 40s already. But I think COVID has really opened up everybody's eyes that it's nice to have, if you have the opportunity to have a second passport, that it is worth it. So.
Yeah. One question we did get in a previous session that I wanted to clarify. Someone asked if a grandparent can apply for citizenship for their grandkids or on behalf of their grandkids. And so technically, yes, if the grandparent is a citizen, they can, the grandchild can apply, but they still need the permission of the parents, correct?
Especially if it's a minor. I mean, as an adult, not, no, but as a minor, yes. The minors,
Okay.
any citizenship for a minor, the parents have to be present, both parents, in order to do that, even if it's coming through a grandparent.
Right. So, and then if one parent or both parents have passed away, they would need to present the death certificate and then something that's stating if the grandparent is the legal guardian, they need to show the documentation showing that. If someone else is a legal guardian, let's say a godparent or an aunt or something like that, then that legal guardian has to show that they are there and able to make decisions and give permission on behalf of the minor.
Yep, exactly. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. I said we don't have any questions yet. So maybe the past 3 sessions that we've done, we've answered all the questions and nobody has a problem anymore.
I think I've gotten some good feedback here of people that have actually come in here or have called for an appointment who have been on this live Facebook Q&A and said that a lot of questions were answered that they had concerns about. And so I hope that has helped at least alleviate, because it is hard. I mean, sometimes trying to schedule online in certain markets, other markets like us here, we don't have online access. So it's only phone. And, if you don't have staff answering the phones for you, and you only have one line, there's only one call you can answer at a time and everything else goes to voicemail. So, trying to bear that in mind when you're calling people, people that are in the audience trying to get through to us. It
Right.
hasn't been easy and we understand, but we're trying to do the best at it.
Right. And we have gotten some emails from folks that, they've been trying to reach the different consulates to confirm appointments or, just to have questions answered. And they haven't either received a response or been able to reach out to been able to reach anybody. So in that case, we are offering the service that if you email PALCUS at consular questions at palcus.org, we will do our best to get answers for you. Again, we cannot replicate or replace the services that the consulates perform. But if we can at least help fill in the gap of getting you the information that you need, we're happy to do that. And sometimes it's just a matter of letting people know, hey, did you know that this website exists? Or hey, did you see this on the consulate website, that there's this checklist and all these kinds of things that people either just haven't been able to figure out or what have you. So that is available as well.
Yeah, we're also starting to get questions here. A lot of people, expats, right, are moving over there, retirees, on their baggage certificates, what is needed. And so a good reminder to everyone is that they need to have that declaration that they are leaving the United States and relocating to Portugal signed and brought in order for us to do that baggage, transfer with all already coming in and how the boxes and the containers are being labeled and everything to facilitate. So that's something we're getting a lot of now. A lot of people, or at least have purchased there and will be moving within the year over to Portugal.
Right. So. Right. I can speak to my own experience. In our last session, I actually did it from Portugal. And so now we're back. And on our way back, Carolina, we had to take more tests because of Germany. So as I told everybody, so we went through Germany. And at the Lisbon airport, I don't know about the Port airport or the one in Flat in the Algarve, but in the Lisbon airport, they do offer the rapid tests for 30 euros. each, which was actually cheaper than what we took in the town of Lourdes. They had like a little drive-through station where you could go, you had to make a reservation, but anybody could go and take a test. That was 100 euros each. So we were kind of like, shoot, had we known about the one at the airport, we would have just done that one and saved 70 euros each, and, you know, also been within the right time frame that Germany required. So for those of you who are, you know, thinking about traveling and are wondering where do you get the tests, as of last week, they were still offering the test at the airport. And so, but again, you may want to call the airport just to confirm that, you know, they're still offering that service, because who knows when they stop and start and all that kind of thing. So
that's been the you know, $50 million question on, you know, on getting the tests and getting them. I mean, I'm going over at the end of May, and you know, I'm already trying to see where am I going to get tested over there before I come back, and hopefully that might lift a little bit too, you know, whether those of us that have been vaccinated already still need to get the test or not. So
right. Have you heard anything more about traveling on an expired passport? Someone did ask us, you know, yes, I might be able to travel there on an expired passport, but if they, you know, do they have trouble getting back into the United States? I mean, I guess if their US passport is okay, then, because they just need the Portuguese passport to prove citizenship, correct?
yeah, exactly. But there was a limit, and I don't remember, I'm not aware of the exact limit that was happening during the shutdown. Okay, the complete world global shutdown, right, where nobody can do anything. I think that would be something we can clarify with the embassy. But
Okay.
I know that here, at least in Miami, they're not allowing anybody on a plane with an expired Portuguese passport.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So
That's good to know, because that wasn't the case, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's different anywhere else, but I know here in Miami that has been an issue already because the documents were not current. Also, I highly recommend that if someone is traveling, like a spouse, that one is Portuguese and the other one is not, that has a Portuguese passport and the other one has not, that you do take the marriage certificate, you know, for proof that you are married, especially if you both have two different names, in order to travel together, because that is another issue that we have seen happen.
Yes. So that's a great one. Thank you for bringing that up, because we did have a few questions about the name change and the name on the marriage certificate of the mother was different than what was on her passport. And so now the child is having a problem, you know, applying because they're saying it's not the same person. So essentially what has to happen is on the US side, the parent or the mother, right, has to get a US, either, I don't even know if there's a name change document that exists in the US. I don't know, but she would have to get a passport, a US passport that reflects her name on her marriage certificate, right?
Yeah.
And then apply. So if those two things are different, the first step is getting those two things the same, then register the marriage, right? To show that it's the same person getting married, right? And then the child, and that person would have to make sure that they have Portuguese citizenship, because then those documents have to then get translated. Now, do those get translated here, or do they have to be sent to Portugal and then they're translated? How does that work?
No, you can have it, you know, we have on the embassy website, you know, certified translators that people can have the documents translated here. I mean, that's no problem, but then it just needs to be authenticated at an embassy or a consulate office.
Right. Okay. We finally have a couple questions coming in. So this one, you know, it's a little repetitive, but again, people have the same questions, which is fine.
I keep repeating the mistake.
Right.
And then I learn.
Can you briefly describe the process for applying for citizenship as a grandchild of a citizen? They're at the very beginning of this process, and there's some written material, but it's still not 100% clear.
Yeah, okay.
So
the process starts that they have to, the grandparent has to, the only way they can prove that that's their grandparent is by the parents' birth certificates, right? Marriage certificate that they were married, that this child was part of that marriage, all right? And then, and showing that lineage going down to the grandparent. Now, it's only to first line of grandparents, not great grandparents, or as I have gotten great grandparents, okay? But it's not that. So that's pretty much it. But if you you basically combine the information that you see on the website. This is how I figured it out. So, okay, so there might be an easier way, but I actually, when I first took on this position, is that I looked at what it took to be a citizenship through parent and a citizenship through grandparent. Now, some of the required documents are similar, but with the grandparents, you have to have their lineage as well as to prove that this is their, you know, so everything cross-references. So the grandparents are going to show on their marriage certificate and the same names that are going to appear on this child's parents' birth records, that these are their parents, all right? So it's just cross-referencing that everybody belongs to who they say they belong to.
And do all those certificates have to have like the apostille for the state that they live in?
Right, exactly. They have to.
Okay. So the grandparents' marriage certificate, the parents' birth certificate, and then marriage certificate showing the birth certificate of the grandchild. So like the whole thing, you have to send them all to the state to get apostilled.
Yeah, and people have to understand that we can't apostille anything at our
right. Only the state that you live in.
State that we live in can do that. That changed, I think, back in 2016 or something like that. I don't know the exact year, but it wasn't that long ago that was still. And so people that haven't been to the consulate office in a while find that to be, you know, very different. And it's been very hard, especially with the whole issue of COVID and even some of our government agencies on a state level not being in full operation yet either.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna just share my screen real quick to show people the website that we have, in case anybody would like to, you know, visit that website. So again, here it's palcus.org /consular resources. And oops, no, I don't want to go there. Okay. So, oh, no, wrong one. Go back. Oh my God, what the heck? Not what I wanted. Live webinars. Come on, there we go. All right. So as you see here, we have the link to the embassy as well as the link that will take you to all the different consulates in the United States that have websites, because then they have documentation, and then they will also list the services they are currently helping with or servicing. If you do need help with filling out paperwork or a power of attorney, translations, there are a few agencies, private agencies that will do that for a fee, and they're listed here. Anyone out there that also does this and would like to be listed on this site, please send us your information and we will list you here. And then if you do have some feedback on your experience with a consulate, you can go to this website. And that's essentially the, I think it's called the complaint book, literally, but it's the complaint book online. So if you don't have access to the physical one, you can do it online. And then again, here are all the questions that we have received either through email or through these sessions, and we've tried to provide answers to the best that we can. And as we keep getting information, we will continue to update this list. But it's a good place to start if you have questions, because chances are at least one of your questions has been answered here. So as you can see, there's quite a few.
I
There we
think
go.
going back to the question, I don't remember now if it was coming in or you had sent it to me. The person that was waiting to get the appointment confirmed. Normally, on the sites where people can confirm their appointments, it'll show up that it's confirmed. I don't think you're going to be getting another follow-up call that it's confirmed. It's somebody like for April 26th or 27th, something like that you had sent. I know for a fact with us here, because we do everything manually here, is that, you know, I personally send out all the confirmations, okay? And I always now even put on there, if you can't come, please give us at least 24 hours notice so that we can
fill in the slot. Yeah.
Fill in the slots. I mean, like literally at 5:45 a.m. this morning when I turned on my computer, I had a family of 6 that said, oh, we can't come. And
oh, wow.
So I'm sending emails out like a crazy woman to the wait list we have and saying, you know, can you come on short notice? And so we're trying our hardest on our end too, to fill these slots up as we can, because we know there's a big need for them. But we also need everybody's help. And if you can't come, at least giving us sufficient notice so that we can put people into those slots.
Right. We do have another question here that says, the consulate that they were working with says that they no longer, or at least for the time being, they're no longer doing marriage registrations, birth registrations, those kinds of things. So if that's the case, that a consulate isn't doing that, do they send directly to Portugal, or do they just have to wait?
They can actually send it to Portugal. I mean, that's, you know, the information is there on the registrar and everything else. They can do that. I mean, I think people just like the comfort of it being near them here rather than through a process in Portugal, but that's what they're there for. They can facilitate that. And right now, I think also because of, you know, we're still on not full schedules yet in a lot of the places. And that's one of the reasons why you're starting to see that.
Right. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll add that to this list of questions that, you know, if your local consulate is not processing marriage certificates or anything like that, send your documentation direct to Portugal. And we'll put the link to the website, and it has an email address and an actual physical mailing address. And I will say I've emailed them that registry directly a couple of times, and within 24 hours I've had a response. So they are quite responsive on that one. So that was really great. All right, so we only have about 5 minutes left, but again, Caroline, I think we've done such a great job answering all the questions that people have that, you know, now it's like we don't need these anymore, so it'll be funny.
But I think it worked out. I think, you know,
yeah.
I know some of these questions have even helped me, okay, because
absolutely,
they really have, because we've gotten the answers from the embassy too, which has clarified some of the Q&A I get too. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, why don't we just wrap it up, since we don't have any other questions? And I mean, I don't know if we have another one of these scheduled.
No, I think this was our last one.
Yeah. So maybe we'll wait a little bit longer until we start getting more questions and coming in. And but again, there's the consular questions at calcus.org. If you have questions, visit the webpage on our site that lists, you know, some resources for you. And you know, with that, we'll say thanks again, Carolina. It's always been a pleasure, and you're always so helpful.
Yeah, that's always good. And we're always around to answer questions, so feel free to call us, okay? Thanks.
Excellent. All right, thank you. Have a wonderful day, everybody. All right, bye-bye.